As the liberation of Mosul from Daesh terrorists gathers pace, Iraq's second city has been coming back to life with remarkable speed. The eastern side of Mosul is under the control of government forces, but the city is devastated after months of heavy clashes between Iraqi troops and Daesh terrorists. Despite living under terrifying conditions, some children still recall fond memories of their time in school.
I had the best days in school, but Daesh destroyed everything, burned schools and forced us to wear black. They slaughtered and killed many people. I am with the army. I hope they win and God willing the school will be back like it was.
I want to go to school. When they came here, I didn't go to school because they changed everything. I lost 2 years and now I should be in the 4th grade. I love studying and playing with my friends.
The city has been under the control of Daesh since 2014. Hope never died in these children, even though their little eyes have seen so much horror.
I miss school, my friends and studying. Daesh deprived us of school for 2 years. They changed the curriculum. It was all about bullets and bombs, so I didn't attend.
Although Daesh has been eradicated from many areas of the city, schools have yet to open, and many children are still doing their part in helping their families make ends meet during the time of war. Now that Daesh has been defeated in eastern Mosul, life will return to normal. Children who were prevented from receiving any kind of education for the past 2 years will once again be able to return to school. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Mosul. As the military operation to liberate the Daesh-held city of Mosul is underway, many Iraqis in and around the city have been displaced and are fleeing the conflict. Hundreds of families are arriving on a daily basis to various camps, such as the one in the Khazar district east of Mosul. Many are relieved to have escaped from Daesh. So far, new refugees from the Mosul conflict have found comfort in this camp. However, nearly 1 million people are likely to flee the fighting in the coming months, which is expected to strain resources in all camps. The internally displaced people from the current conflict are being well received in these newly built camps. However, this is likely to change as the number of people is expected to drastically rise once the conflict reaches inside the city of Mosul. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Khazar camp, east of Mosul. After 2 years of silence, the bell of hope rang life back into the town of Bashiqa. The town was under Daesh control, with most of its inhabitants opting to flee when a terrorist went on a murderous rampage across Iraq back in 2014. This church was once a target for the terror group's brutality against minorities in Bashiqa. But the Assyrian church remained standing after 2 years, and its doors once again opened for prayers. Less than a year ago, being able to return to the church was unthinkable for many Assyrian Christians. After the town was liberated by the Kurdish Peshmerga, prayers once again reverberated in these halls. But the dreadful times are vividly remembered by members of the church. The cross once more sits on top of the church as a sign of the end of the war in the town of Bashiqa, and a clear reminder that Assyrian Christians will remain part of Iraq's diverse religious communities. Reinstalling the cross on top of the church in the town of Bashiqa symbolizes the end of Daesh's terror and occupation. Now the people here can look forward to life returning to normal after 2 years of a devastating war. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Bashiqa, northeast of Mosul. As the Iraqi forces continue the offensive to liberate the city of Mosul from Daesh terrorists, the most successful of gains have been on the Eastern Front, where for the first time the Iraqi special forces are working shoulder to shoulder with the Kurdish Peshmerga to eradicate a common enemy. 2 years ago, it was the divisions and rifts that allowed Daesh to sweep across much of Iraq's west and central provinces. Now it looks like the united front shown by the Iraqi forces has proven to be the cure against the Takfiri terrorists. The coordination between the Iraqi army and the Kurdish Peshmerga forces has reached a new height following their successful joint operation against Daesh in Nainawa province. The cooperation will likely prove to be effective as the Iraqi forces edge closer towards Mosul. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Karamlis, east of Mosul. With a 21-gun salute and a military band playing the Iraqi national anthem, the coffin of former President Jalal Talibani arrived in Iraq's northeastern city of Sulaymaniyah. His family, friends, his successor President Fuad Massoum, and a number of Iraqi officials, along with a host of foreign diplomats and dignitaries, all attended the funeral on Friday to pay tribute to former Iraqi president and veteran Kurdish leader.
It is a very sad day. President Talibani was a great resistance leader against the tyranny of Saddam Hussein. He was a great leader for Iraqis, for all Iraqis, and he was a great friend of Iran all along. We all mourn his loss.
The organizers of the funeral service had draped Talibani's coffin in the flag of the Kurdish region. With tension running high between Baghdad and the KRG, the move triggered a wave of protests from the Iraqi government and some political groups. Talibani served as Iraq's president from 2005 to 2014. He kept a fragile Iraq united during his 2 terms, and now he has once again brought rival Iraqi politicians together, but this time to bid their farewells. The distinguished statesman was laid to rest in Sulaymaniyah amid a public mourning ceremony attended by tens of thousands of people. People from Iraq and the rest of the world have paid their final respects to President Jalal Talibani, a man who over the past decade symbolized unity, reconciliation and dialogue in a country mired in deep political divisions and a devastating war against terrorism. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Sulaymaniyah. Murdered, enslaved and displaced, Iraq's Izadi minority group has had little room for joy since 2014. But the bloodshed and persecution by Daesh terrorists didn't stop thousands of them from marching to their sacred town of Lalish in northern Iraq to celebrate their new year. The Izadis practice what is believed to be one of the oldest religions in the world. 6,767 years as of today, known as Red Wednesday. Built between mountains, Lalish is considered one of the holiest sites for the Izadi Kurds. The crowd congregated barefooted in the town to pay respect to the shrines and tombs of their holiest religious figures in the hope their prayers are answered. While thoughts are still with the victims of Daesh terror group, today witnessed the largest gathering in Lalish as a sign of defiance. Despite over 2 years of existential threat posed by the Daesh terror group, the Izadi religious minority was able to safely celebrate their New Year holiday here in their holy city of Lalish. This proves that the terror group has lost influence in the region. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Lalish, northern Iraq. Erbil International Airport is almost empty less than a day after the Iraqi government halted all international flights to and from Kurdistan's semi-autonomous region as part of a series of penalties to force Erbil to annul Kurdish vote of secession. Passengers were still trickling in, but only from domestic flights. Kurdistan's regional government, that is now feeling the pinch, insists on negotiations to de-escalate the crisis.
We don't yet know the financial losses we will incur due to Baghdad's actions. We have told the Iraqi government that we are ready to allow supervisors or monitors into the airport, but only after negotiations, and as of this moment, there has been no response from the Iraqi government.
With Erbil airport reduced to nothing but a huge empty hall, Baghdad has set its sight on border crossings and all exports still controlled by the KRG, and will likely make a move to retain control of the 2 main sources of income for the region. Suspending international flights in the Kurdish region was one of Baghdad's first countermeasures against the Kurdistan regional government. And it looks like there are more such actions to follow as long as Erbil continues to reject annulling the secession vote and its results. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Erbil. Deep inside Mosul, Iraqi special forces gearing up for another operation against Daesh terrorists is the order of the day. For nearly 2 months, these soldiers braved streets with Daesh snipers lurking in every corner and traveled on roads riddled with explosive-laden cars and roadside bombs, all for the sole purpose of liberating Mosul, one neighborhood at a time. Only a couple of kilometers separates the Iraqi special forces from their target of the Tigris River. But in between are the most populated districts in Mosul and thousands of Daesh terrorists. Yet another neighborhood has been liberated by the Iraqi special forces on the eastern front in Mosul. Daesh terrorists have not been able to put up any kind of resistance against the advancing army, which is hoping to reach the banks of the Tigris River in the coming few days. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Mosul.
Ali Musawi, tell us more about this liberation. Is it in full? And also, is that an indication of how long it may take for the western half of Mosul in terms of its liberation, with the timeline that it took for the eastern part?
The eastern side has come to an end by the counterterrorism unit. They have accomplished their mission on the eastern side of Mosul, a hugely successful operation for them. They have been able to liberate most of the territory on the eastern side of Mosul with very limited destruction to residential homes, and they have safeguarded civilian lives, which has been their most important goal in the operation to liberate the eastern side of Mosul.
Press TV's Ali Musawi has given us the latest updates on advancements made by the Iraqi army against Daesh terrorists near Mosul. Let's take a listen.
Well, earlier today, the Iraqi forces were able to push further westward towards Mosul from the Bartilla front, which is in the northeast of Mosul. What they have done is they have taken few areas around the town of Bizawiya, which is only 5 kilometers away from the entrances of Mosul. The billowing column of black smoke rising from a burning oil field did not cast a shadow on the Iraqi army's latest victory against Daesh terrorists in northern Nineveh province. Soldiers sang and danced after they liberated Qayara, a key oil town which lies on the western bank of the Tigris River and is considered strategic for its location on a Mosul-Baghdad-Erbil intersection. This war-torn compound was once the largest hospital in Iraq, but this is what remained of a Salam teaching hospital in Mosul after 2 years of Daesh vicious rule, followed by fierce battle by the Iraqi forces to liberate the city. Songs, recitation of poetry and chants echoed in the distance as joyous people remembered Prophet Muhammad, the messenger of mercy. The historic Erbil citadel was the staging area for the celebrations, as some people hoped the day would become more than just a festival. Over 1 billion people will celebrate the birth of Prophet Muhammad across the world and in various ways. But here in Erbil, it has become a tradition to gather around the citadel on this day. Centuries after his birth, Prophet Muhammad's message of justice, mercy and peace lives on. People in Erbil have shown that they remember the Holy Prophet's teachings by celebrating this birthday anniversary, as they have done so for decades. Ali Musawi, Press TV, Erbil.